With Shusuke Kaneko having now directed 2 critically acclaimed and financially successful Gamera films for Dai, the studio was happy to have him direct yet another. Working alongside him once again were special effects director Shinji Higuchi, screenwriter Kazunori Ito, and composer Ko Watani, who together would take their time and put together a Gamera film unlike any other, pushing themselves beyond what they had accomplished in the already impressive predecessors. The resulting film was Gamera 3 Revenge of Iris, which concludes the Heisei Gamera trilogy by being one of the greatest kaiju films ever made. 3 years after Gamera saved the Earth from Legion, Gauss have begun appearing across the globe, setting Gamera on a warpath that costs the lives of thousands. Meanwhile, Ayana, a young girl who blames Gamera for the death of her parents, comes across a strange creature hiding out in a temple in the village of Asuka. Ayana names it Iris, and the two bond over their shared hatred for Gamera. Soon, however, it attempts to merge with her, and fueled by her thirst for revenge, begins growing and consuming the life force of people. Sensing this new threat to the planet, Gamera intervenes, who, along with ornithologist Dr. Mayumi Nagamine and Asagi Kusanagi, fights to save both Ayana's soul and the fate of all mankind. With both preceding Gamera films having set a new benchmark for modern kaiju cinema at the time, you'd think it would be near impossible to top their achievements. And yet, Gamera 3 Revenge of Iris does just that, taking the franchise into even darker territory by telling a tale that is as epic in scale as it is intimate in its intentions. Like all good trilogy cappers, it brings the story full circle while also expanding the mythology in such a way that brings Kaneko's amazing trilogy to a bitter, somber, and explosive end. This is a film where all the creative forces at play were firing on all cylinders, creating a modern kaiju masterpiece that still holds up remarkably well 20 years later. Right from the start, Revenge of Iris demonstrates that it is no ordinary kaiju flick, ingeniously reframing the victory witnessed at the end of Guardian of the Universe into a tragedy by giving us a glimpse into the life of someone caught in the crossfire. From there, the film wastes no time, establishing a world beset on all sides by monsters who couldn't care less about the humanity that gets in their way. This is a spiritual story about revenge and enlightenment, featuring compelling characters both old and new, and an intensely melancholic and apocalyptic atmosphere that sticks with you long after the credits roll. The cast here is better than ever, and are a prime example of how human characters can enhance the kaiju plot. Unlike Attack of Legion, many characters from Guardian of the Universe return, and in more substantial roles. It's nice to see Dr. Nagamine and Asako back, once again played by Shinobu Nakayama and Yokojiro Hataro, with the latter having a delightful little 3-film arc that unites the films. Ayako Fujitani once again returns to play Asagi, and unlike the last 2 films, finds herself in the thick of the action. Playing her dark reflection is Maeda as Ayana, a young girl that forms a psychic connection with Iris, and uses that connection to seek vengeance on Gamera. Ayana is a very compelling protagonist, whose revenge arc adds human pathos to the monster action, making the battles between the colossal creatures more emotional than your average brawl. And speaking of battles, Revenge of Iris has some of the most jaw-dropping action scenes you'll ever see in the giant monster genre. The Shibuya District attack alone is one of the most impressive kaiju scenes ever filmed, showing the utter devastation and loss of life that comes when monsters fight in heavily populated cities. It's easily the highlight of the film, disturbing while also offering a huge adrenaline rush that genre enthusiasts will absolutely adore. Gamera sports a brand new, meaner, sleeker design, reflecting how the character has completely shed his friend of all children moniker. He's genuinely frightening looking, forcing you to look at the monster in a whole new light. Iris, on the other hand, is quite the opposite, lacking almost any sort of personality or menace. It's a different kind of antagonist, one that hides its wicked intentions behind a blank, expressionless, almost peaceful persona. The two only battle once, and while it's pretty short, it's absolutely brutal, and even claustrophobic, as the fight has the unique distinction of taking place inside a single building as opposed to a big, wide cityscape. Revenge of Iris also takes the filmmaking craft perfected in the last film to even greater heights. Shusuke Kaneko's direction is more confident than ever, and Shinji Higuchi tops himself again, blending computer graphics and practical effects to create sequences of visual splendor that, while not always seamless, are no less impressive. And once again we get more beautiful music by Ko Otani, this time drawing the bombast back to create a more subdued soundscape. Gamera 3 Revenge of Iris is that rare trilogy capper that manages to top its two predecessors, and in this case that's saying a lot. Technically it is amazing, an example of how suitmation can still have a place in the digital age. And even better is that it doesn't show off for its own sake. This film is not empty spectacle, it goes for quality over quantity, using its kaiju sparingly to tell a very human story about grief and redemption. It is the gold standard of the genre, as idea-driven as it is widely entertaining, and has the confidence to conclude the Heisei trilogy in an ambiguous way that sets fire to your imagination, leaving you wishing to see what happens next. 20 years later, you'll be hard-pressed to find a better kaiju film than this. For more reviews and opinions on all things Gamera, subscribe and stay tuned to Up From the Depths.